Appeals Court Judge Justice C.K. Honyenuga has dismissed suggestions that the Justice for All program could result in the release of hardened criminals. Justice Honyenuga, who chairs the Justice for All program, says the exercise is rather intended to decongest the country's prisons by freeing up inmates who should not be in prison. He spoke in an interview with Joy News.
We cannot extend the Justice for All program to convict prisoners. The exercise is for remand prisoners. If one is convicted and is serving a sentence and he needs help or he wants anything to be done, the best thing to be done is to file an appeal against the judgment or the sentence or the conviction or anything. But it is not for us to go and sit as an appeal court to decide on the matter. So that is why the Justice for All program has not been extended to cover convict prisoners. Okay. It is solely for remand prisoners. Okay. Yes.
And we're talking about some inmates here who are complaining that they want the parole and the non-custodial sentence to be introduced in our country.
Yes.
How soon are we expecting that to be rolled out?
Thank you. I must say that Justice Hometowu and myself were part of that process. The workshop on non-custodial sentences. Fortunately, the process has been put together and has been launched by the Minister for Interior. And he has really assured us that he will put it before Cabinet so that it become a policy, and finally it will get back to Parliament for it to become an act of Parliament, so that people will not, accused persons will not languish in jail for very minor offenses. They could, for example, be sentenced to do community services. Community service. For example, for somebody to just go and clean the very bad, the indecent gutter in Accra, to be supervised, to be under supervision rather than to be in jail. Yeah. So we are hopeful that the minister will keep his word, and then it will see the light of day.
Yeah, we have some people also criticizing this Justice for All system. It is a positive initiative. Some say it has the tendency of pushing criminals back to the streets. Do you share that opinion?
Never. I do not share that. You see, if statistics is taken of those we release at the Justice for All program, you will see that maybe, a very negligible amount of people that go back into crime. As a matter of the reception that we get when we come for the program is so laudable from the prisoners. They are so very happy with us. When they see us, they see hope. Yeah. So that there's hope coming for them to leave this place, especially for those of them who are there on bailable offenses, like stealing and those offenses. You see, they are always very happy, and they are not, I don't believe, and I don't think that people, most of the people we release go back into crime. It's not true. It is only detractors of the program that are saying things like this. We were with the Assistant Director of Prisons here, and you heard him when he said he was very delighted. He was happy that we have come to decongest his prison. You see, so I think the positive thing is that we are rather reducing the number of people in prisons, people who should not be there, because they have not been tried and found guilty yet. They are innocent until otherwise proved by the court. Yes. So they should not be in prison. Why would they want to go back to into crime when their matters will still be pending before the court? And even those we discharge, they are really happy that they may not want to go back into crime. The problem that we have found is that most of them, after their release, are shunned by society and their families. And some of them may not even have a place to shelter themselves. And the only place to shelter themselves is to maybe go back into crime and come back into prison. And these are very negligible numbers. In all, the Justice for All program has impacted a lot on the prisoners in this country. Yeah.
A middle-aged man has been charged by the Bimbilla police for the murder of his mother and 2 of his half-brothers. The man, whose name was given only as Albert, is alleged to have shot his mother and 3 of his brothers, accusing the mother of being a witch and favoring his half-brothers. The Bimbilla District Police Commander ASP Stephen Abanga, who disclosed this to Joy News, said Obet accused his mother of using her witchcraft to siphon his wealth, making him poor. He said Obet attempted escaping but was arrested by the community members. ASP Abanga added that he's currently in police custody awaiting trial. Martina Bugre is in the area, joins us now on the phones for some more. Hello, Martina. Okay, her line just tripped there, but that was on the back of that particular story. Speaking of a story in the northern region where one person has actually killed his mother and two siblings all over, claims that his mother is a witch. Now, we can do some other stories. Now, Director of Legal Aid in the northern region, Issa Mahamudu, has warned that legal services under the legal aid program could suffer major setbacks if government fails to resource the aid. He says there's a serious human resource deficiency within the legal aid in the country.
Mr. Mahmoud, who was speaking at a paralegal workshop and judicial support for women alleged of witchcraft organized by Asuntaba and Action Aid, said the northern region has just one lawyer with legal aid department who is in charge of the 26 districts in the region.
There's only one lawyer in charge of the region, and there are courts in most part of the region, in the districts. Tamale alone has 7 court rooms, 2 district courts, a circuit court, and 4 high courts. Now, the challenge of moving from Tamale to other districts is also there because you need transport. The legal aid scheme in the northern region had a pickup which broke down in December 2012, and it has since been at the fitting shop. So if you have to travel outside Tamale to do any work, you have to go in your own means of transport, and this I've done over the years. In terms of workload, given the number of courtrooms that we have, it is overwhelming because one person cannot attend court in 7 courtrooms within a day. You try as much as possible to manage your cases and plan, but they are still overwhelming. And you also have to travel outside Tamale to court in Yendi, Bimbilla, Salaga, Walewale, sometimes Nalirugu. All these to do legal aid work.
Mr. Mahmoud decried the poor working conditions of lawyers with legal aid, which he said is scaring lawyers away from joining the department. He said a lawyer under the legal aid department earns just about 1,500 Ghana cedis, which is twice what their other colleagues receive in other departments.
Unfortunately, due to the poor condition of service, most lawyers, after attending interview, refuse to accept appointment to work in the legal aid scheme. Because to the best of my knowledge, for most lawyers in the legal aid scheme, we do not take salary above 1,500 Ghana cedis. So you work as a lawyer throughout the month and sometimes even weekends.
Let's remain with the justice system. And Accra High Court has once again adjourned the trial of the former Chief Executive of National Service Board, Alhaji Imoro Alhassan, as lawyers from the Attorney General's Department again requested for more time to conclude their investigations. Now, this is the 7th time the case has been adjourned since last year. As you may recall, Mr. Imoro is facing charges for allegedly stealing some 86.9 million cedis. Kwacha Afrenioma was in court and joins me in studio now for some more on this particular one. So, Afre, first tell us really, what came out of court today?
Today basically the trial itself has not begun. The trial of the former National Service Executive Director has not begun, and this basically boils down to the fact that the state prosecutors have not been able to conclude with their investigations. Of course, they have to present their case so that the defense lawyers for the defense's lawyers will be able to open their arguments as well. And what came out of today's proceedings, essentially the fact, as you mentioned earlier,
that it was adjourned again.
It's been adjourned again, and this is the 7th time, Chenchen. In fact, this case began in October last year. So October to April, it's been 7 months, and the trend has been that anytime state prosecutors come to court, they ask for a 1-month adjournment. So today, for example, they prayed the court another adjournment. So it's been, the court has been sitting once every month, and as I mentioned earlier, that's the main reason why the trial itself has not commenced.
So the trial hasn't commenced, and there's been 7 adjournments. Any particular reason they give for the adjournments?
The same reason on all occasions, that they need time to conclude their investigations. It's not clear when the investigations will be concluded, but covering a number of court cases. For example, if you go to the Circuit Court, the Cocoa Affairs Court, that Court 1 presided over by Justice Francis Obri, he's very strict, and you're looking at the matter of the suspects linked to the Nayeli Ametefe cocaine scandal. He mentioned that at a point when state prosecutors were not bringing forth any evidence, that he threw out the case, but the judge in this case has been very considerably and relatively lenient with them. She's given them a longer rope to operate, but as it stands now, we are not certain whether they will be able to present their findings, any conclusion of their investigations at the next sitting, that's May 27, a month from now.
Well, what has been the reaction of the lawyers of the accused? Obviously, I'm not sure they can be too happy about this. They've
always insisted that, and in fact, they've described the courts and the entire case as a case of adjournment, because obviously it's been the same trend. And at the last sitting, when I spoke to Dennis Ejay Jamal, he mentioned he was obviously very, very angry. And today they've decided not to speak on the matter at all. They say that they are waiting to see what evidence that the state can bring to prosecute their client, and they insist that Mr. Imoro is innocent.
I see. Afe, thank you very much for that update. That's Kwachi Afe Nyama with that update from court. Now, government is appealing to the king of the Mampugu Kingdom to lead a campaign to solve all the chieftaincy conflicts that have engulfed the 3 regions in the north. Interior Minister Marco Yongo says the Naire Mahami Sheriga must be particularly interested in ensuring the right people supposed to be chiefs in all towns in the 3 regions in the north are, well, those who are supposed to be there. Now, the Interior Minister and regional ministers from the northern and upper east regions have arrived in Nararigu to meet the Naire before they continue to Bumprugu Yonyo, where an ethnic conflict there has led to the death of 2 people. The minister briefed the media before their meeting with the Naire.
We want him to play an active part in finding a lasting solution to the problem in Bumprugu. I would want to use the opportunity to appeal to the Nairi and all the other chiefs, paramount chiefs in the 3 northern regions to come together and come up with a succession plan for all skins in the 3 northern regions. Because the chieftaincy institution is supposed to be a noble institution. The chieftaincy institution is supposed to galvanize the people for development. The chieftaincy institution is supposed to be a blessing. But regrettably, it's becoming a curse, because in the process, a lot of people are dying needlessly. Innocent people are being killed. And I think that we need to set up, look at the institution again, streamline the succession plan, and ensure that only qualified people become chiefs. And I think that this is the only way we can curb or can curtail the instances of chieftaincy disputes.
Well, Marco Yongo is drawing the attention of residents to how these pockets of conflicts in the region have retarded development there.
No, these disputes also come in their wake retardation of development. Retardation of development. Development is retarded. We don't get the needed development as expected because people are busy fighting. Nobody wants to come and invest in this part of our country because there is insecurity. Nobody wants to invest in an area where there is so much insecurity. So we need to do a lot. We are yearning for development. We are crying that we are a deprived people. We are talking about the vast difference between the North and the South. But unless these differences are addressed, these issues are addressed, we will continue to have this yawning gap between the North and the South. And this is basically what I'm coming to do. Talk to the people. They should cultivate the culture of tolerance, culture of dialogue, culture of sitting down as brothers and sisters to discuss their problem and arriving at mutually beneficial, mutually satisfactory agreements.
Well, my colleague Seth Kwame is with the minister on this trip. He joins us on the phone now for some more. Hello, Seth.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, Seth. Good afternoon. How is the meeting going, and what time are you expected to leave for Bunkrugu Yonyo?
The meeting with the Nigeria is still underway, and the chair minister has been briefing him. He's been telling him what we all said about the need for him to lead in the campaign to get all chieftaincy issues in the northern part of this country resolved. According to the interior minister, Bunkrugu Kingdom is very quiet, and we hardly hear of violence in this area. So if that's the case, he wants to find out from the Nigeria how he's been able to do that so he can spread this to the other parts, other regions in the north. The Nigeria has been telling the minister that the situation in Bunkrugu Yoyo is not that easy one. It's something which needs time to be handled, and he believes that youth in the area are those behind the atrocities and the burning of planes, killing of people there. He says as the ministers go there, they should sit with both sides and tell them, let them understand why peace is important in the area, looking at how fragile the area is, and looking at how the number of old men and women there, including children. He added that if the people there are happy, that children and the aged should suffer when they are fighting, then they should go ahead. Otherwise, they should see the need to maintain peace. From here, we will leave and continue to Bunkrugu Yoyo.
I see. All right. Seth Kwame, thank you very much for that update. Seth Kwame is my colleague here at Joy News. Now, moving on to some more stories. 4 people have reportedly been injured in an exchange of gunfire at Agbogloshi here in Accra. The shooting followed a disagreement between the Dagomba and Zamrama communities in the area. Joy News Kwetenate has been to the scene and will be joining us on phone now for some more. Hello, Kwete. Okay. All right. So, Kwetenate has been speaking to the police who have been on the ground, and well, they've been saying some very interesting things. You can now take a listen to what they said.
So we'll continue to be on the ground, at least to make sure that the tempers go down. What we sent somebody to the hospital to verify, the injured. And so when our investigators went to Kolebu, they said 2 people sustained some injuries, and so they are undergoing treatment at Kolebu. But then the scrap dealers who felt that it is their people who were injured, sometimes they get wrong signals that somebody is dead, but there's nothing so far to prove that anybody is dead. We have only 2 people who are responding to treatment at Kolebu, and so when they get the wrong signals, it incites them to attack the onion sellers.
Have any of the police been injured?
One of our prisoners, you see the stone? You see the stone on the, how do you call it, the officers? Yes, the helmet. So if it were not to be a helmet that hit him, sure, it was a helmet that protected him, like he would have been injured, seriously injured.
And how many people have been arrested? Because that has been the concern of those who are agitated.
Yes, I think so far no arrest. We are trying to make sure that the tempers go down.
Well, Kwete Nati joins me now in studio with some more on this. So, Kwete, welcome back. Now, what sparked these clashes?
The clash was sparked by an assault on a Dagomba girl at the Agbogloshi Onion Market. What actually happened was that this morning the young girl had gone to where the Zamrama people
used to do their business to defecate, and they got offended by what the girl did and beat her up. And then the girl went to inform the dad that this is what had happened. So the dad went there to confront them, and they clapped the man with a hammer. So the man was bleeding profusely. So he also in turn went to his people to inform them that this is what the Zamrama people had done to me, and that brought the whole fighting.
I see. So now the clashes came on. There were gunshots and gunfire everywhere, exchange of gunfire everywhere. Are there any casualties?
Yes, 4 people currently are severely injured.
Severely injured?
1 is a policeman. 2 was as a result of the clashes, and 1 was an accident. When the whole skirmishes started, I think one of them got confused and got himself in this thing, in an accident.
So what's the situation there now? What's the security situation?
There is still an uneasy camp there, and the police commander was telling me earlier that they will still be stationed there because you cannot tell when the other faction might retaliate, because they are still peeved by what happened.
Okay, thank you very much, Kwete. You can hold on now, and let me speak to my colleague Rita Hajiman, who is also on the ground. She works with our sister station at Dom FM. Hello, Rita.
Yeah, hello.
Rita, what more can you tell us about what's going on at Agbogloshi now?
Yes, my other colleague has said it all, but all I can say is that for now, the police has been able to maintain calm there. Speaking to the regional police commander, DCOP Christian Sesenyehonu, he was telling us that they will be stationed there for now until they are able to see that all the issues have been resolved before they leave. But for now, calm has been maintained.
Now, in your interaction with the police, did they mention to you whether or not they've been able to make any arrests?
Yes, the police said they haven't made any arrests yet. That is why that is the main reason why they are still there, just to interact with the people who were there earlier on when the classes started, so that they could identify who to talk to and who to arrest and all that.
Okay, thank you very much, Rita, for that update. Rita Ajima is my colleague with sister station at Dom FM. She reported live from the grounds. Now, Kwete, thank you also for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll be back with some more after this commercial break.
Above the clouds is every child's dream. At Ethiopian Airlines, we welcome you to experience the magic of flight in our Cloud 9 cabin. With our award-winning cabin service on board our spacious and relaxing 787 Dreamliners, we are proud to link Africa to over 75 destinations worldwide, including Sao Paulo, Shanghai, and Toronto. It's time to follow your dream. Ethiopian Airlines, the new spirit of Africa, a Star Alliance member.
Welcome back. A number of deaths that occur during accidents can be blamed on poor handling of victims. Experts say helpers usually miss the critical things they need to do to save a person's life, as their focus is only on transporting victims to the hospital. Now, it's for this reason that the Ghana Red Cross Society decided to establish an emergency first aid post along the Accra-Tema motorway, a stretch on which many have perished in motor accidents. Joy News Adelaide Data, however, reports the post is facing a number of challenges, amongst them the lack of first aid medical supplies.
It's almost midday on Sunday, and the emergency response unit operated by the Ghana Red Cross Society is closed. I was here 2 days ago, and the facility was closed then. Meanwhile, they are supposed to be the first point of call in an event of an accident on the Accra-Tema motorway. Only 6 volunteers instead of 13 work at the emergency post, usually for 12 hours on most days, which means there are times of the day there are no emergency responders on call.
They don't come on Sundays. That one is a major problem that we have, because they are working on the highway and anything can really happen at any time. So we need them 24 hours, whether day or night. First they say they are emergency.
It's a relief that the Ghana Red Cross Society's emergency first aid post along the motorway is opened today, Monday, after it was closed the whole day on Sunday. So I'll be going in there now to check out what they have there and how they operate.
We have here the first aid box, which contains of the bandage, cotton wool, gloves, and the rest, bandages.
What's this? It holds the grip?
Yes.
Okay. And then you have cotton wool?
Yes. We have here nose masks. We have here bandages, and then scissors.
I can see you also have birds here. How many do you have?
We have 4.
The Ghana Red Cross struggles to fuel the only ambulance here, donated by the Chinese Red Cross. Lives of victims often hang in the balance when riding in this ambulance. It all depends on how fast the driver can get to the nearest hospital, as the ambulance also lacks emergency medical supplies.
There was a white lady over here. She normally brings hers, so in case she's not around, then what you have to do is to ask the driver to drive fast and get to the hospital. The other time when we got an accident here, she brought drip and then some of the things.
So those are her personal items?
Yeah, her personal items.
We have here the oxygen tank here, which is always empty.
The facility has no electricity. Another reason volunteers are unable to operate at night. All these challenges defeat the purpose for which the emergency first aid post was established in 2011 with the support of corporate organizations. The Ghana Red Cross Society concedes it is unable to perform satisfactorily because government funding is not forthcoming.
Red Cross was set up by Act of Parliament, supposed to have gotten support from president or government. Unfortunately, Ghana Red Cross is not receiving such support from Ghana government, and that is why we are not able to do what the Act set us to do. That is a major challenge. Now we are in a situation where if you don't have corporate support, then you can't do anything as Red Cross in Ghana.
According to Mr. Dakun, the Accra-Tema motorway should not be the only highway with an emergency post.
The idea was to have it on all accident-prone areas in Ghana, where we collaborated with the Ghana Highway Authority to have all these spots. But building it is one problem, and then even getting, like I say, the equipment, the little logistics to start is also another challenge. We see in most situations, casualties or people die not because they were to die. It is because of the way they handle. People die because people who get there on time have no knowledge in basic first aid. For that matter, they try to do the last thing first. The last thing that we're supposed to do is to transport this person to hospital. But the first thing is to try to stabilize the condition, and these things are not done.
Another plan to train drivers as first aiders was also stalled due to lack of commitment from stakeholders. The limitations of the emergency unit was tested 2 weeks ago when a Metro Mass Transit bus crashed into a parked, broken-down truck. A Toyota minivan, which was following the bus closely, also ran into it. Several people were injured, but the emergency officers who rushed to the scene were ill-equipped and unable to stop bleeding or relieve the victims' anguish.
We can now go back to the phone lines now and do an earlier story we're reporting. And Martina Bogre joins us from the northern region. And Martina?
Yes.
Martina, one more kind of report.
What I gathered was that Obed has always accused the man of being a witch and using her evil powers against him. He said that her evil powers are so powerful that she's been able to stop him from progressing. He also accused the mother of favoring his half-brothers, and that is why the brothers were progressing in life and he was not. He kept on, but he wasn't satisfied with just that and decided to murder the mother and 3 of his half-brothers. Fortunately, 1 survived and the 2 died with the mother. Now the family are angry at what he's done, and so when he was sent to the police and he was remanded in police cells, the family refused to visit him. When he fell sick, nobody went to his aid. The police had to use their resources to have him treated, and he's well. The half-brothers are aggrieved and they want justice served.
So, Martina, this gentleman who killed his mother and 2 siblings of his, has he been arraigned before court?
He's still in police custody, waiting for the Attorney General to begin the court process.
Speaking to him, does it look like he's remorseful for the acts?
It certainly is, but it's a bit too late now.
Martina Bugri, thank you very much for that update. Martina Bugri reported from Bimbila, where one gentleman, killed his mother because he claims she's a witch and she's used her powers to affect him negatively, siphoned his money and all, and he also killed 2 of his siblings. We can do some other stories now. And the National Petroleum Authority is to continue the installation of tracking systems on fuel tankers despite concerns raised by drivers of these tankers. Now, the drivers had earlier expressed misgivings about the installation of the tracking devices, and in fact, they even threatened to embark on a strike action if the decision was not reversed. But the NPA, after a meeting with the leadership of the fuel tanker drivers, says it is proceeding with its decision to install the trackers, adding that the concerns of the drivers have been resolved. According to the NPA, these tracking devices will enable the authority to halt dubious claims made by some fuel tanker operators. Yaro Kasambata speaks for the National Petroleum Authority.
The meeting was that the ongoing policy of installing electronic devices on all bulk road vehicles, or as we call it, fuel tankers, will continue, and that at the moment all those 1,000 vehicles that have been installed with tracking devices will continue to transport fuel across the country in the manner that is prescribed, and then the rest of them that are yet to be installed would also respect the directive to operate within their designated zone. This is to ensure that we can monitor the claims they make on the mileage they've traveled and the distances they've covered for purposes of reclaiming or making claims for payments for freight.
Special representatives of the UN Secretary General and head of the UN office in West Africa, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chamba, says appointing an independent-minded person who... Okay, we take business now. We'll be back with some more. The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has denied employing fresh staff through backdoor channels despite a government freeze. The authority, however, admits it is engaged in some recruitment, except those being employed are part of a process initiated in 2013 before the freeze on employment. The GRA also confirmed the integration of some JIDA and NYEP volunteers on attachment as mainstream staff.
Reaction from the Ghana Revenue Authority follows widespread speculation about clandestine recruitment into the agency. Joy News had obtained videos of some of the recruits being bused to the GRA training school at Petoi in the Volta region from Accra. The authority, however, explained the recruits who were transported on that day were part of a process that started in 2013. Robert Nana Mensah, who speaks for the Customs Division, said apart from the junior and senior operational staff, the process covered some specialized staff.
We were recruiting, following due process, following our own in-house mechanisms, which function was approved by the board and carried out by management and all the departments, HR, public relations, legal, estates, our training school, and all of it brought their input. Well, since both groups, we took them to a work stadium where they came in their white top and down to come for the body screening. So these have all been done in the open. You could see things happening at the, so maybe that adjective may be too strong, but whatever we've done has been quite open and done transparently.
He also explained the decision to integrate some JEDA and NYEP staff who have been working with the authority for some years now.
By all the problems JEDA and NYEP face, most of them were not even on their payroll. So it's a decision made from our end to absorb them. And I think it was just fair. Because you go to some of the offices and they are virtually the one who are holding some of the clerical and even field work together. And they've gained experience over the years, and I wouldn't want us to make good use of them. In fact, they are not, it's not even a wholesale. You might have seen on the notice board as we're coming that they are also going through an aptitude test. It's not just even a wholesale.
He cautioned that the GRA does not sell recruitment forms, and anyone offering the forms is misleading the public.
We never had forms. And we have always said over and over, please advertise in the newspapers, gone on air to tell people that if anybody should approach you that we are selling customs forms or GRA forms, straight away get that person arrested. And people are taking piece of good money on all sorts of pretenses. But
have you had such complaints?
Yes, last week we just rounded up somebody who said he had paid some 9,000 Ghana cedis or so to get recruited. Where was it paid? He called the place. We just gave the people the phone call, took pictures of him, and bundled him over. That they should deal with him and should let them do their own in-house identification parade, get the person and deal with the person.
It is unclear, though, how many of the new recruits are being taken on through the JEDA NYEP window. Officials downplayed the request for the figure, indicating all the recruits will be taken through the same process. Martha Krentz-Solakwa, Joy News, Accra.
The controversial YFM presenter, Adezi Onyinyechi Ayoka, also known as Princess Ada, who allegedly staged her own kidnapping and gang raping, has threatened to commit suicide. Princess Ada, the radio diva, is reported to have pleaded with her mother to allow her to take her own life. According to a newspaper report, its sources at the police hospital in Accra indicates that Princess Ada, who may be charged with deceit of public officer, is constantly pleading with her parents to leave her to kill herself to end it all, apparently because of the humiliation the act has brought on her. We'll be back with international news. Stay on. Zulu King Goodwill Zwelithini has asked for an end to violence after attacks against migrants in South Africa. The king told crowds of thousands at a stadium in Durban that previous reports that he said foreigners should go back to their countries were distorted. He's been accused of fueling attacks in which at least 7 people died. Hostile sections of the crowd sang songs calling for immigrants to leave and booed a speaker who said foreigners had the right to live in South Africa. In King Zwelithini's speech, he called the recent violence shameful and vile. He said accusations against him of inciting violence were incorrect because the country was only being shown a portion of his speech.
This war I am calling for today is to protect everyone of foreign origin in this country, irrespective of which country they are from.
Well, that'll be it for the international news segment, and indeed, that'll be it for the bulletin. A quick recap of our top stories. There are 4 people injured following a shooting incident at Agbogloshi here in Accra. Police nabbed a man for defiling and murdering a 7-year-old girl in the Pong Katamanso district. Man kills mother and 2 half-brothers in the northern region. And finally, girl at the center of Takoradi staged abduction and rape threatens suicide. Well, that's it for Joy News today. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Kwabna Chenchen Hineboating. Have a good afternoon.